Okay, thanks for joining everyone. And I think we just lost someone there right away, but thanks for joining. And we've got a packed agenda. I want to get going um, and go through all the different slides. I've got a few videos that you can watch as well. Well, it might not be great on the streaming, but I wanted to make sure that you knew where they were anyway. Okay, first up, COVID-19. We've got to talk about it. It's happening now. Everybody is, around the globe is impacted. So we need to start a dialogue up front. I didn't want to leave it at the end and then run out of time. So I wanted this to be number one on the agenda. Because how does it impact the super yacht industry is really the problem. So my view on this is that we have to be open, we have to be honest, and by all means be sensible, because this is maybe not impacting you right now, but it may well do in the future, and also it is impacting some people and some families, so we do need to be careful and sensitive. My view on it is you stay under your own rules, which should be really strict. Personally, I came back from Italy in the beginning of February. I was doing a shipyard tour. I went to Heesen and Amos in Holland, as well as on the Monday I went to Benetti and Pisa. Now that was a week before I think it was started to going into its problems. So I was there at the time, and immediately I started to self-isolate, and by the end of the week my wife had a severe flu. So we've been, and you can hear my cough now. I don't know if it's impacted me yet. So far, I'm okay. My wife came through what was a really bad flu from her perspective. We couldn't get tested, so we don't know whether it was or not. But she still has a bit of a cough that's going in. But I think we're over the worst. There was a little bit of a fever, a little bit of high temperature. So really, my world has all been, really a bit alarmist to everybody around me for a while. But thankfully, this week, everybody is now locked down and they're now getting it as well. But my world has been pretty frantic and getting used to it. I've got tissues, cleaning everything, a bit obsessive. So I think you should belong to your own rules first, which is you might get it. You better try and actually segregate your own family and make sure you've got your own families you're looked after. But also then your government. So I know there's a lot of people on the call from different parts of the world, not just the UK. So look after what your government, look at what your government is telling you to do first as well, because the rules around the world are going to be different. And everybody's coming into it in different parts of it, because it's one of those things that's just flown around the world. So where America's just kind of like maybe a week or so behind the UK. The UK is about 2 weeks behind Italy, and so forth. And so therefore there's subtleties to where what the rules and guidelines are. First thing is safety of elderly and high risk, and from a yachting perspective, staff and crew. But also our clients are impacted with travel. So I've got a client that's wanting to view some yachts. He can't get out of Australia at the moment, so therefore we have to postpone that. Looking at the detail for now, but he's still very keen on a particular yacht. And there's another guy in America. Again, we were at advanced stages. I've just had to put that on hold, and then when the things open up and practically possible, we can actually start making things happen. So there will be an impact to all our viewings, our surveys, the charters, and also mooring, where you can actually, if you don't actually plan that in advance, obviously there's going to be problems. So, but you have to put it in context, and I've put a link in there, which goes to a website, which is really very useful, and I'll send that around to everybody towards the end. I think I get my email, I get your emails given to me as to who was on the call, and I'll send this out to you. But that particular one shows you where in the world there's actually only 1 or 2 cases. Monaco, I think, was 2 or 3 the last time I checked it. The Caribbean, there's a number of places in the Caribbean that are 2 or 3 cases. So they're kind of wondering what's all the big fuss about. And that's fine if your yacht is over there. But what happens if it's, maybe in the UK and going over there? Well, you're going to have problems there. So there are subtleties to where the cases are, and you have to look at it in a global aspect. So there's no one size fits all. So I wanted to introduce myself and Lomond Yachts, just to bring everybody up to speed. We're a super yacht broker. We work with buyers through associates, and some direct. Most of my buyers come from associates, so they're people introduce them to myself, and then I look after their buying needs. The associates, work with me to look at some of the details, because a lot of work involved in selecting and choosing the right yacht, etc. So the buying activity we're very much focused in on is purely working with associates. So I don't have staff. So that was one good thing, is that my business model is not dependent on my own employees. It's dependent on a number of associates around the world, and we've got about 100 at the moment, and I'm looking to grow that. And there's some of the 100 that aren't very active, and that's just the cycle of their life, and some are more active than others, and some are on this call, and I'm not sure if if I know all of you, but certainly I know one or two that are actually associates. And then the sales side, we haven't done sales. We're more, in other words, taking someone's yacht and actually trying to get it sold, rather than actually just finding buyers for a number of yachts. It's subtly different in the industry. We're starting to look at that now, and we're partnering with a big American company. Now, the reason it is a different game, because you've got to go to, boat shows, you've got to go to, you've got to put yourself out there in Boat International, and there's a bigger expense involved, creating videos, etc. So as a small company, we're looking at partnering when it comes to yachts, and that people want to sell, and because we're placed here in London, the partnership with the American company is actually quite a good thing for us. So we do a lot of selling through our social media, social networks, as what I call social selling, and through our digital platforms. That's where we started, and that's where we'll continue. So we don't have offices, we don't have big overheads. We're purely online, and that way we can keep nimble and still run as a business like this, even though we're in the middle of a crisis. Ultimately, I can run the business on an iPhone. That's how much focus I had on digital from day one. A digital focused system and business, so that can grow significantly through its associates, is really what the business model I moved into. So we've got a massive database from the Yacht Council, and we've got charter databases as well. And from that, we are able to help clients search and select the best yacht for meeting their requirements, both budget, quality, size, etc. And we partner with the UK and international brokers. So I'm talking to Burgess every day. I'm talking to Wyco, Camper Nicholson, Edmiston. So working with them, Fraser's. So working with all of those, as well as all the shipyards like Heason, Benetti, San Lorenzo. I'm always in touch with them. It's a kind of network we have, and a relationship that's built on a foundation of the best practices within the super yacht industry. But there are some I work with more often. I have also a network of designers that I work with, on a regular basis, architects. I try to choose my team, so that when I work with them and I think they're the best at what they do, and we've got a good rapport, I continue to work with them rather than changing over or use that lawyer one time and then that different lawyer another time. So I do have a legal advisor, Mark, who I work with all the time. I do have an insurance guy, Monty, I work with all the time. A financial guy, Steve, I work with all the time. And surveyors, that depends on which part of the world. But we can also do ongoing management of yachts as well. So we've got a company in Isle of Man, and we work with them to when the job gets bigger. So ultimately, it's a massive network of people all doing, working for a client, and doing a little bit of the the business process, to deliver that. And it all culminates in the Monaco Yacht Show. So the Monaco Yacht Show is really the only focus I have. It's the biggest and the best. I don't need to go to Fort Lauderdale. I don't need to go to Antigua, Palm Beach, etc. I focus my attention on Monaco Yacht Show because it ramps up and it creates an atmosphere around it that is really um, good for business. And both before, during, and after, I'm always really on top of a number of deals that are moving forward. So that's why I focus on the Monaco Yacht Show, because it kind of fits in with the rest of the business processes. So I've covered 15 minutes. Now I've got another few things I want to go through: concepts, new builds, brokerage, and charters. So I'll go through them fairly quickly, which will allow me to finish about 5:30, and then we'll use the last 10 minutes for any questions you might have. So remember concepts, in terms of, it's important to separate concepts from everything else, because concepts don't exist. They're a dream. There's somebody creating a wonderful looking yacht, but on paper. And that then, when they get some publicity around that, and it's told, put into all magazines, etc., people think you can just buy it. No, it's actually a long way from that. So it's important to understand, the difference between a concept and a new build. In terms of concepts, we have our own, Caledonia, I called it, which is the Roman term for Scotland. And we work with Diane Scott, who's an architect who's in Australia now. She was in Monaco at the time, and she designed Axioma. Now I've got a link to the video, which I won't bother going through just now. But Axioma is a gorgeous looking yacht, and on there I've actually got GAs, which are general arrangements, which is basically the drawings of a particular design, and there's different sizes there. So we do that because sometimes clients want to be able to see what you've got, in terms of being able to see whether you're capable of building one yourself, and they may well choose to do that at a particular time. So we've got that ability to do that. Also, we also present Oshanko and Heeson, who have, are one of a number of options you'll see on the screen there, who have their own concepts. So they've worked with a particular design company and created their own specialty. They do it every now and then. It's not always successful for them. It tends to be a really good open door and marketing exercise for them. For example, Oshanko's Esquel came out. There's 105 meters. It's an expedition yacht, and there's some links I can show you to that as well. And it shows you they've gone quite further. They've gone into taking it just from the drawing into a video, so you can actually start to visualize what they're trying to get at. And Heeson, I've got an 83 meter steel, but that came out of, I think it was Monaco last year. They announced that, could have been the year before, but it was an 83 meter steel, and they haven't actually started building that yet, so they're waiting on a client, but they'll showcase it. But it doesn't seem to appeal to clients at the moment, whereas all their other yachts are certainly off the ground and moving along. But that particular one hasn't. It was quite futuristic. It had a flowing a swimming pool at the back on 2 or 3 layers. So it may not appeal to someone's taste. But if you have a client, or if you are interested in concepts, you can actually work with other companies like Winch Design, who are local to me. They're one of the best in the business. Or you can work with the yard direct. I had a client working with Amos, working on an expedition yacht, and they actually designed it for him, and to the fine tuning it before it went further into the build process. You can get the best in the business, Espinogno. I'm not sure if that's pronounced properly, but he's one of the guys most sought after architects. Sam, Kurt, and the A Group. Again, the A Group worked with Oshanko, And in the UK, there's Tony Castro, who's won awards for his designs as well. So there's plenty of people who can actually design a yacht and actually work with you or your clients to make sure that they get the finesse of it. Because it's one of these things that are, it's very particular what shape and size a yacht. What you want, an axe bow, or do you want, the windows, more windows on one port, the port or starboard side, in terms of the shape of them and the curvature. I mean, it's very personal when you get into the details of it. So that's concepts, and again, the website does. If you go to the website, there is a link to that to see a bit more detail. So in terms of brands, I've got again, you can go through all that on the website in a bit more detail. So you can go for a new build. So that's beyond the concept. This is where they've actually taken a design, gone into a GA, and they're actually at an advanced stage. And you don't have to go through all the designs and get your particular sorted. It's actually in a more advanced stage than that. So Lursen, so it's a 3 or 4 year project. So Lursen and Oshanko tend to focus in the 100-meter upwards. Certainly a Shanko hasn't gone below that, I don't think. It might have gone 90 meters before. Lursen's starting to come down. There's a bit of an overlap. They do want to be seen as something that goes into the 70 and 80 meter, but majority of their market is in 100 meter plus. And then you've got the next layer down, and I've only mentioned 3. There's more in that space, but the 40 to 80 meter tends to be Amos, Eason, and Benetti. Certainly, those are the ones I work with. But there are, plenty of others like Fedship, Abiking, Rasmussen, San Lorenzo, and an array of others. Italian, Dutch, and German, and Turkish. Now, but all of that comes to quality and price. So there is no doubt about it. Number one is Lursen. The Germans do the best super yachts above 100 meters. They're always sought after, almost like the perception is they don't depreciate as much. I'm not sure whether that's true or not. Whereas a Shanko tends to be more adventurous and more different styling for every yacht. Lursen definitely has a flavour and a brand, if you like, that you just know when it's a Lursen. But they charge a premium for that, obviously, and the next level down would be the Dutch, the next level down would be Italians, and then the further down would be a Turkish, and each of them have a quality and price difference. I'm saying that because surveyors have told me that. The best surveyors have actually, it's not just my opinion. There is a real quality difference between them. So ultimately, if you had all the money in the world, always go for a Lursen, but you'll always get at the back of the queue because Lursen don't have an open-ended yards for to suit that. And obviously Dutch quality is you'll see once you get into the details of some of the yachts, you'll see Dutch qualities is equally up there, just in a different styling, and obviously Italians, and then I mean I've been on I was talking to a client about a Turkish yacht, which was gorgeous. It really was, the best that that you couldn't fault it. There were some differences, like in synthetic teak, so that's where there are some corners cut when it comes to they've got to find a way to actually make it cheaper. And it tends to become the materials or the cost of the build, etc. from the people. Remember that there are yachts on spec build. That's where people, mostly the likes of Amos and Heathrow, are good examples of that, where they've not got an owner, they've not gone through working with a client to get the design, etc. all the way through. They're actually at an advanced stage. They've built it and designed it themselves, and they want to get it sold before it launches, if possible. So Heathrow had 3 yachts on the go there. They had a client for the first one, Triton. That client then decided, and it was pulled off the market in January, and then the client then decided he wanted the Electra, and so therefore they changed over to the Electra and made that one sold, and so Triton is currently still sitting at a completed stage at their yards and available. So if somebody wants a new yacht, and that's what, you know, they don't want to wait for 3 or 4 years, it's there. It's a gorgeous looking one. Again, the links on my website go to Home, Heason's Home, which is the same as Triton, so you can actually see what it looks like by having a look at Home. So in terms of brokerage, I'm running reasonably good on time. I'm just going to rattle through this. In terms of brokerage, this is my back end database. This is what I see, just to give you an example. And these are the top, it's sorted in terms of size and price. So this is showing you the one, those at the top of the range, if you like. Now Octopus is still for sale. That one that was in Monaco last year at Anchor, and I was quite lucky because it was quite hard getting on board. There was a lot of NDAs you had to sign. You couldn't actually take photographs on board, and there was a lot of last minute, I'll get a tender here and we'll take you over there the night before the show. So it was all in a lot of secrecy around it, but eventually got on board. It's an absolutely gorgeous yacht. I mean, Paul Allen had passed away last year, and that's he's the Microsoft founder, co-founder, as you know, but on board it's just it's incredible for a 2003 yacht. But because it's 2003, it puts some people off, and that's why it's possibly still on the market until somebody comes along. And always remember with yacht prices, they are an asking price. If somebody comes along and wants to make an offer, then everybody listens to that offer if it's a strong and sensible offer. So remember that don't think that's the only price. So you'll see Project Odin. That's actually although it says 2020, that's a concept. So there are some behind the scenes. I've got to make sure I understand which ones are the concepts and which ones are really for sale. It's always quite tricky. If you look at Google yachts out there, you're never sure whether they're really for sale or for charter or whether they're a concept, etc. So that's where using a broker is invaluable, because we can see the wheat from the chaff and actually get to the yachts that we know are actually ready for sale, being sold. I'll ignore Centaura because I haven't actually seen that. I just noticed that this morning. That's fairly new. It looks like a concept as well, 2024. You've got Amadea there, another Lurson that was in Monaco in September as well, and Project R again, a new build concept. Next layer down again, iDynasty's been on the market for a little while. Lady Mora, I think that just came on last year. A little bit older, 1990. And Kismet, one of my favourites. I've been on her a few times, and she's finding it hard to be sold. So she's still being chartered. In fact, I noticed before we came on, she's sitting over in Jacksonville, which is where the owner lives, where he's got, I think it's Jacksonville Jaguars, I think it is, he owns. Again, it's a gorgeous yacht. I wish I had time to actually show you the video. Have a look at it online. The spa area is just second to none. It's really, really top quality. So I rate the Kismet, very highly. As do many of the clients I've actually taken to. They end up, really sort of falling in love with Kismet. Sorry, there's other, Aquarius and Barbara there. I'm actually talking to a client about Barbara at the moment. He's very interested. And Aquarius is a Fed ship, as you know, which is also, looking at the quality of it, very similar to a Lurson in terms of its robustness. I wanted to also let you know that it's not just the top of the range yachts that I have access to in terms of the database. And some clients come along for a 60 metre, for example, and there's a Benetti there at 25 million, so lower down in the stakes. So, and again, I'm happy to look for particular opportunities at any size really. I tend to focus on super yachts, which are like 40 meters upwards. But some of my databases do have quite a wide range. And when I was speaking to Benetti, they were quite happy for me to start to talk about azimuths, which are right down, further down the food chain, if you like. They sometimes brand the ones lower than 40 meters, the azimuth, and they sell a lot there as well. So charters. Right. Okay, that's where I was going to switch over briefly. I'm still on time. I'm doing quite good in terms of time to allow some questions. So I'll be with you in a second. I'm just going to close this screen now. I'm going to close. There you go. Sorry, just briefly before I go to that. This was the coronavirus case thing. And the world info, and if you go further down, you can see what I was talking about by those areas there. St Lucia's only got 3 cases. St Barth's over in the Caribbean, looks reasonably safe over there. But how do you get there? Antigua and Barbuda, so you can see some of the places you might go on a yacht, the Bahamas. This was that's home. I was preparing for you. This is the Caledonia. That's Axioma I'd prepared for you. This one here is Maximus, which is the 83-meter Heason I was mentioning. That's Kismet on the charter site, and there's a video there to view. But as you can see, there's some high quality there. And clients can actually just say call us or ask for more details. If they check availability, they can ask, and that'll come to me, and they'll be able to charter it that way. That was a video I was going to show you. Just look at it, just gorgeous. Even the video they've done out of it is really amazing. And that's just to show you how I knew where she was, and that's for the Jacksonville Jaguars that I was mentioning. The owner is so and there's a maritime traffic. If you look on that, you can find out where any yacht is in the world, and you get some pictures as well to go and have a look at. It's a really good site. Lastly, the charters. There's a new charter facility I've got, which is I'm impressed. I think this is going to help with clients, because chartering, as you know, is more of a what am I going to do when I get there, and what it's more about the experience and the itinerary around the actual week that they've got, 7 days. So where are they going to go? Around the Med or the Bahamas or around the Caribbean? And we've got brochures that suit each of those different areas. And we can customize it. Like, it'll take about 5 minutes to select a number of yachts and produce this report. It's really, really good. And in there, this is one I've done for a short list of 5 particular yachts. And you can click on that, and it'll put you to that Kismet site that I mentioned. There's the yacht link there, and each of the others tells you the builder, tells you the year, the length, the guests, how many people they can get on board, Tranquility being 22, most of them are 12, and the price range per week. But what this report does as well is it helps to see the area, what they can do, and it gives you a little bit more about helping to build that itinerary. There's where to go: Millionaires Playground in Monaco, where to visit, when to charter, the Crown Jewels, the Millionaires Playground. So I selected Monaco before I printed this, and there are details like this to send to clients if you're interested, as well as the shortlist that gives you a nice flavour and then the ability to click it and go and actually check out more. So chartering a yacht or buying a yacht, that's really what we do, and that's what I wanted to get across today. So I'm going to open the floor to any questions. I see we've got 8 participants. Thank you all for coming today. So we've got another 5-6 minutes or so to answer any of your questions that you may have. If I spoke so fast for half an hour and you're totally exhausted and you have every bit of information you have, I'm happy with that as well. But if you've got any questions, I'm here to answer them. Or if not, send me an email or a message on LinkedIn or any other site, and I can follow up for you. But if you've got any questions now, you feel free to go ahead.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Michael.
Quick thing, will the Dot Club site be up and running at all?
I have not yet, but it will be. So it's in a good stage. It's not going to be called Dot Club. It's just going to be off of the sales link on the main site. So you click that and it'll be. So yeah, it's looking great. So yeah, I'm almost there, and it will be more again like that charter presentation. There'll be much more information to read about locations when what to do when you get there rather than just the yachts. So it's becoming much more richer in terms of the information on it. It's almost there. I've just got to work out a way. Basically it took a long time with my my development team, longer than I anticipated for various reasons. But I'm nearly there, and I could show you it today, but I didn't want to. There's still a bit missing where there's only one image at the moment. There's only one image, and I want to have another section where there's the other images can go there as well. And then the associate status, I want to just check that out to make sure it works. So I'm not too far away. I would say within 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be ready. So not too bad.
Okay, that's good.
Hi, Doug. Mark Warren speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. Just quickly, get your sort of opinion. How are you finding the charter market at the moment? You're in there?
So what
do you think's happening?
Well, you can't commit. That's the problem, because the biggest thing is how are clients going to travel there?
True.
Most of the people are coming from either America, Australia, Italy. They're not coming from the Caribbean, because they're all basically in the Western world.
Understand that.
So and then also the crews, are themselves are they're not exactly always on there. So there's a lot of challenge. The big challenge there. So
yeah. I mean, we supply, or I supply navigation equipment, charts, etc. for the boats, and a lot of the boats are locked down in Europe, and some have escaped to the Caribbean. Lucky. Are you getting inquiries for later on in the year still?
Yes, and that's what it is. Yeah. So and some clients are looking at it from a business continuity perspective to say, well, we've got to get out of here with my team. How do we do that? Well, why don't we look at either chartering or buying a yacht? So there are some increased inquiries around the fact that people have to get out. But yeah, no, there's inquiries, more planning ahead. So I think this time that we're in at the moment, the next 2 months, it's planning. It takes a while to get the yacht that you want. It takes a while to get the one the charter location, etc. So I'm using this time to basically just help clients get the planning done, but they'll not commit. Nobody can commit until they understand the landscape beyond.
Certainly. I mean, I've had boats. It seems to be Norway seems to be a popular destination for this coming to the season, and even those sort of boats that I work with are all sitting around waiting. So we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly, and so I think when the client's serious and wants to start discussing, then it's all about, okay, how firming them up and steering them into a particular location and or a particular yacht, and then starting to see whether that captain, what is. So it's really it's a sniper approach. You have to get down to that level of detail to then see, is it really going to be possible?
Yeah.
But and then you get there and you think, no, it's not possible. So I'm not for want of trying, but I think realistically, the next 2 months is probably going to be, really quiet.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
we do is talk about our beautiful yachts and showcase them, and put them on screen, etc.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Really, if I haven't actually sent you any details of links, etc., in the next 24 hours, please do get a hold of me at douglas@lomandyachts.com, or in LinkedIn if you've got me on there. But I appreciate your time today. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Cheers.
All the
Cheers.
best, Doug.